Hello, everyone. Oh, now walls have ears. Who is spilling this? People can treat you badly, but it's not me. I'm here to give you the latest news about the royal family, especially the fake Montecito couple. No need to go far. Just turn on the Kate Middleton and the Queen channel every day, and you'll get what you want. Guaranteed quality. Okay, let's get to today's main content. You are aware that it is a common saying, isn't it, that you need to exercise extreme caution when it comes to the people with whom you collaborate? And for a good number of years, I've been employed at a company that, what's the term you would use? The grin with a dagger, that kind of stuff. Whoever tells you that you have performed well, sang well, or got the laughs, or anything else, you should always be very, very wary, because behind the scenes, they are often the ones who are putting the knife in the deepest. However, the most significant issue is that when you begin a career, especially somebody like this man, that's correct, Josh Kettler, he would have believed that he had reached the point where he would be able to start earning money. He had been working in the sector for some time, and things were actually coming up, despite the fact that they were the most mocked couple in the world. He was working for one of the most renowned couples in the world at the time. You have to ask yourself, well, what can I do when you are ridiculed in such a manner? That is the essence of the problem. It was obvious that he believed he could. However, what is fascinating is that, as I mentioned before, there is always somebody working behind the scenes. And do you think it may be Dora the Destroyer? Do you know, I have a lot of sympathy for the black taxis since, as you perhaps know, they are rather pricey. There is a new one, and it might range anywhere from $48,000 to $65,000 for all of the items that the council has now commanded you to have. When you assume that all we desire is to be transported from point A to point B, you are absolutely insane. Now, there are those people who could argue that it ought to have been the simplest of duties. Of course, for this very new employee who is working for the Archewell Foundation. It was a couple of months ago when everything got off to such a good start. The workplace of Archewell and everyone else was filled with the normal amount of cakes and coffee, as well as a great deal of fanfare. Nevertheless, it must be a lot of fun. You must be thinking about whether they should, of course, buy a pillow with their name on it or anything, since it is obvious that they are not going to be around for that long, isn't it? It must be like a comedy series, because you must be looking around. Do you think the chaos and lack of strategic planning at Archewell Foundation is the main reason why so many employees are leaving their positions? If you think so, comment number 1. And if you think Josh Kettler quit because it was unacceptable to work with Meghan, the bully, comment number 2. Now, which is more interesting, and as always, we have to say that allegedly is one of the reasons why this particular staff and other staff members feel it is very difficult to continue working under the regime of Harry and Meghan and the way that they operate, which appears to be very chaotic, simply jumping on any single bandwagon after another. However, this is the issue. They never remain committed to a storyline for a sufficient amount of time. The jams, and then it's this, and then it's a tour, was something that we've witnessed on several occasions. Everything is in complete disarray, and it goes without saying that if you are working with them, you will never be able to formulate a comprehensive strategy. The most important aspect of branding, marketing, and publicity is that this is the case. Something is carried out in its entirety. It is obvious that they never do. The fact that even phone conversations, private phone calls, circumstances like that, where he was doing deals behind the scenes, magically found their way back to Madame, was something that this particular individual found to be extremely unsettling, according to a source that is very well placed. Indeed, you are correct. Madame Meghan, after that, they would be brought in and discussed, and he was unable to comprehend what was going on. And it would appear that, according to that source, there were phones that were as clogged as wiretaps or anything even somewhat similar. Although I am not in the least bit claiming that this is the case, it is necessary to hypothesize on the matter. Nevertheless, according to that source, who also worked there for a very brief amount of time, In fact, a great number of people feel that it may be this particular person. Mama Doria, you have it correctly. A person who visits the mansion on a regular basis, if not residing there permanently, and this is of the utmost importance, constantly, if we may say so, sitting in the background. Now, there are others who may argue that she is out there to safeguard her daughter, and, of course, Prince Harry. She is keeping an eye out for all of the negative factors, possible deals, and other things of that nature. The truth is that every tale has two sides to it. On the other hand, it would appear that they were unable to deal with this situation any longer. It seems that if you say anything that is not appropriate, it is reported back to you, presented in a negative light, and then you are required to justify yourself. And in the event that it is not adequate, Madame will become quite agitated. We are all aware of what occurs when Madame becomes enraged, are we not? Imagine all the heartache and sickness the royal family has had to deal with since Meghan showed up. And Harry's betrayal. They're better off without the toxic couple in their lives. Honestly, I think that the stress Harry and Meghan have heaped on King Charles and Catherine has contributed to their health problems. They definitely hastened the end for Prince Phillip and the late Queen. Very sad. Sadly, the toxic waste that is Harry and Meghan still looms as a threat to the royal family's well-being. They're like Chernobyl. I think the pain and vitriol they've heaped on the royal family is equaled by that inflicted on Meghan's poor, ill father. He has none of the surrounding support that Charles has. When Mommy Dearest came out of jail, she took care of her demonic daughter to teach her a lot of her criminal strategies, and Meghan was born evil and a bad seed. Thomas raised her, and he is a decent man. I think she is sick. Around a decade ago, a team of neuroscientists was studying the 4 types of narcissism. They found abnormalities in the prefrontal and insular brain structure in people suffering from narcissistic personality disorder, NPD, which is the most serious type because it is so far incurable. If you go to the Mayo Clinic's website and look up NPD, you'll find a long list of symptoms, and Markle checks every box. After all, I think she had better be careful, as here in America, she can be hauled into court for abusing her employees. She would get a taste of what she's been dishing out. The best kidnappers would realize what they had got themselves into and would pay us to take her back. You kidnapped her. You keep her. I am so surprised that anyone would work for them with what happened in previous times. It's upsetting to see all the stress and trials the royal family had to go through since Meghan Markle arrived on the scene. Sincerely, it's scary. In fact, they could have and should have cut themselves off from it when they saw Markle was defiant and insubordinate to everything. They knew who she was and what her dirty lifestyle was, and yet ended up giving their blessing. There have been numerous times they would have been well within their rights to remove titles, cut them off, and move swiftly, but they haven't. I feel sorry for William, but not King Charles, because William's a strong, honorable man of integrity, intelligent and wise. He's a true leader and would have handled this whole thing with a firm, solid hand. This would have ended a long time ago if he had been given the job of handling this pair. This will go on until William takes the throne. The door will remain forever open. The olive branches, the frustration, the titles, and all the back and forth will stay firmly in place and keep going just as it has been for the past 5+ years. It's so funny. Harry believes Meghan is exactly like his mother, but Meghan is exactly like her mother. It seems Meghan learned a lot from her mother, who's also a jailbird and a thief. Just saying, if Doria did desert her daughter, and it seems she did, that would explain Meghan's narcissism. Let's face it, if Meghan got kidnapped, I don't think anyone would pay the ransom. It's laughable to see it from afar. Meghan has become almost a Disney-like version of the wicked stepmother, or Cruella. It would not be wrong to say that Meghan's mother held onto her hair for her lifeline to celebrity status. Don't tell me she did that to protect her daughter. Seriously? Where was she protecting her daughter when she was working on that lengthy rap sheet she was accumulating. Her daughter takes right after her. They are one and the same. Domineering grifters who, for some reason, God knows what that reason is, think they are something special. Now it comes about that Dorito was not a qualified social worker, as her daughter made her out to be, but a secretary to a social worker. OMG, what a mess Harry has caused. Really, was there no one else left on the planet to sleep with? In my opinion, Rachel would need a court-ordered wiretap to record conversations of employees, and the employee NDAs to become null and void anytime there is any type of hostile work environment that leads to employees being bullied and threatened by their boss or bosses. Next, being bullied and threatened and being forced to work under mental stress because of the slander and gossip of a third party. Doria also gives the employees a right to sue Archewell and Doria. These employees are no longer bound to NDAs, and neither is Harry or anyone else. These bullies victimized to cover their alleged illegal crimes within Archewell and private jets. Interesting that staff for the royals often stay for years and years. Wonder why Harry and Meghan can't keep someone beyond 3 months. I believe they've lost 18 staff members since they left the UK. Not only that, the Queen sent over some of her best longtime staffers to help Meghan adjust, and those people went because they respected and loved the Queen and would do what she asked to help. If the Queen didn't care, then she would have left her hanging out to dry. But Meghan ran them all off because she wouldn't listen and thought being a royal meant getting her own way and treating the help like garbage. And then Meghan had to play the victim and lie and say she had no help. It's sad how many valuable staffers left because of Nutmeg. One woman had a boyfriend living and working in another country, and she said she was leaving to go live there when she really just went there for a short time while she looked for another job. She was back in the UK and working not long after she left, and Prince William hired Jason Knauf back to run things with his Earthshot project. Knauf is the guy who worked in William and Harry's office doing publicity, and it was he who exposed the bullying. He revealed emails about that letter Meghan wrote to her dad that the papers published, where Meghan wrote to Knauf that she had written a heartwarming letter to her dad that would tug on the heartstrings of the public if the media got a hold of it. I always thought she had leaked it, and that email shows she wasn't writing from her heart. She was writing to manipulate public opinion. What a nightmare of a person she is. Do you have the same opinion? Could you kindly let me know in the comments section below? I am grateful that you checked out my video. Please give us even more support. I have high hopes that more people will show their affection for the channel by loving it, sharing it, and subscribing to updates. My heart is filled with hundreds of kisses for everyone. We will see each other again soon.